Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ToniAprroved. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to just say thank you so much for checking out my podcast, and you should definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that way you'll be notified of all my future episodes. So today, you guys, I want to talk about a few things that's going on in music that I have deemed as ToniApproved. First off would be Miss Ariana Grande's new album, Sweetner, which was released on August the 17th, and it is the fourth album from the singer and her third album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard's 200 charts. Her album sold 231,000 copies in its first week, and of those numbers, 127,000 copies of those were pure sales from traditional albums, aka me. I bought the album as well. I personally love Ariana's music. I love the way it makes me feel, and I love the way it sounds. I always tell people Ariana's music has such a happy sound to it. Even her more sadder songs, like her song Thinking About You or Almost Is Never Enough. Ariana's Sweetner album is such a great body of work in my opinion, and it's definitely ToniApproved. I remember when she was on the David Letterman show right before the album came out, and she said that she named it Sweetner because she wanted it to bring light to a negative situation and to bring some sweetness to the lives of the listeners, which I believe she definitely accomplished this goal because this album is good from A to freaking Z. Most of the album was actually produced by Pharrell, so Pharrell made sure that Sweetner had a slightly more urban feel to it compared to her other albums. I think the closest this album would have as an urban feel probably be to her last album, Dangerous Woman. I love the fact that Missy Elliott is featured on the album. Her sound with Pharrell mixed so well on that track, and it was definitely a great mixture. I noticed that Max Martin was actually a part of this album as well. He produced and co-wrote some of the tracks that's on the album, and I honestly believe he might be responsible for providing that pretty music sound to these pop artists. If I had to pick my top 3 songs of the album, it would be kind of difficult because I really like the CD as a whole, but if I had to pick 3, number 1 would definitely go to Blaze. I love the way that song sounds and the arrangements of the melody. That whole I will never let you go. I was like, yes, Pharrell, you better never let you go. Her runs were sick on that song, and I could just feel all of the music deep down in my soul. You hear me? 2 would actually have to go to Sweetner because it is such a great title track. I feel like if the audience could only listen to the title track before the album dropped, she would definitely still draw in a lot of listeners. This is another track that's produced by Pharrell. And what's funny is I was watching a Genius review, and they were mentioning that Ariana Grande's song Sweetener actually has a lot of similarities or sounds very closely to the Carter's out song Nice that's on their new album Everything Is Love. And I actually agree with them because I believe that both of these songs have the same electrifying energy. When I say that, when I was listening to Everything Is Love, when I got to Nice, even though the other tracks before it was nice, play on words, I was still like, ooh, I like this, and it stuck out. And the same thing happened with Sweetner. All of the tracks before Sweetner were good songs on the album, but when Sweetner comes on, I was like, okay, Ariana, better wake me up and remind me I'm listening to your music. So Sweetner definitely woke the album up. 3rd would definitely have to go to Breathing, which I believe is her next single. I personally love the lyrics of this song. It basically talks about being encouraged by someone who's close to you when you're going through a hard time, and them telling you, just keep breathing and breathing and breathing and breathing. I was like, oh yes, Ariana, I will keep breathing and keep breathing and keep breathing. Because trust me, stuff like that is something that I be needing to hear sometimes, because sometimes life can just be a lot, and sometimes people really be trying it and pushing you past the point that they know they should have stopped already. And sometimes it's all you have to hear is just keep breathing. Or when life is really difficult, or you're going through, or you're having a bad day, sometimes you just got to keep breathing to get through it. Just keep breathing, get through it, and get to a part of the day where you either relax or doing something that you enjoy. I love the electric guitar in the background of the track. It's just such a great song and gives me such a hopeful feeling. We definitely have to keep our eyes on Miss Ariana. I think she's going to be one of the greatest of the next generation if she keeps going and doesn't get off track. Around the time that Ariana's album dropped, an unreleased track from Beyonce dropped as well, called Wake Up featuring Blue Ivy. This song is actually an unreleased track from Beyonce's Beyonce album, And it was of course leaked because Ariana has a version of the song on her album as well, and it's called REM. I wanted to shout out Beyonce's version of the song because A, it's an actual finished version of the song. I don't care if new music comes from a new Beyonce album, a feature that she's on a leak, or a leak. I'd just be happy to have new music from Beyonce. And I feel like it matches Ariana's style of music. Comparing B's version to Ariana, you actually are able to see that Beyonce changed some lyrics of the songs and some of the arrangements, which when I did some research, she actually co-wrote her version of the song. So the lyrics that were added in, of course, was lyrics that she wrote, and this gives her songwriting credits on the record as well. I believe that this is completely fair, especially when it comes to Beyonce, because Beyonce, people come at her for her quote unquote not writing all of her music, but Beyonce makes every record that she put out a Beyonce record, and no other artist can put it out the exact same way. Even when her and Jay did the Migos song Ape Shit, even Quavo has admitted Beyonce took that song to a whole nother level and performed it and gave it an experience that him and Amigos couldn't give. So don't come for Beyonce for her writing credits or how she writes, because her arrangements does the justice for her. I believe that this was actually strategic that the song popped up online. If I had to take a guess, I would say that Beyonce gave clearance to Ariana to be able to use the song, and then gave Pharrell the clearance to go ahead and leak it, because it sounds very well put together. And I feel like it would kind of bring more attention to Ariana's album as slightly of a way of Beyonce kind of helping her out, because Beyonce didn't mention it at all. So Beyonce dropping an unreleased track took nothing away from Ariana. Everybody just wrapped it in with Ariana's because it's a matching song on there. And Ariana wasn't negative with the reply that she was getting from using the song either. So good job to the both of them. Are you guys familiar with the rapper Boss? Hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he actually had a song that popped up on my title called Tribe featuring J.Cole. And to be honest, I only took a listen to it because J.Cole was featured on the song. But when I listened to it, I put two and two together and realized that Boss is actually J.Cole's artist. And that J.Cole has actually mentioned him a couple of times in his songs. He mentioned him on his freestyle for Album of the Year. And he, if I'm not mistaken, he also thanked him on Note for Self on his 2014 Forest Hill Drive album. But anyways, I think this guy makes great music, and this is all my opinion off of just the song. He did drop a new album called The Milky Way, and I'm going to listen to it and give you guys my review on it. I'm really excited to listen to it. I think I'm going to like it because his music the song sounds very similar to J. Cole's style of music. So I'm very interested to see if I'll like it and gain a new artist from Dreamville. East Coast rapper E-40 drops his new album, The Gift of Gab, which is his 25th solo album. That is crazy to have that much music out. And can we please get 25 solo Beyonce albums? I'm just saying. Now, I'm not a huge fan of E-40's. I definitely like his voice on the track. I love the way he sounds, and I love the flow of how he puts all of his stuff together and the way his words flow when he's rapping. If I had to pick three songs off of his album that stood out to me, Winning is definitely one of them. I like the way he used his raps to play on that hook and to bring up different ways of how he's winning as E-40 and just as a person. I feel like off of the strength of that, it makes it a great in the morning inspiration type song to help you get your confidence where it's supposed to be before you head out and conquer the world. These Days was a nice song off of the album. I like the West Coast swag that it had, but one of the songs that really stuck out to me was the last track that's called When Life Shows Up. I personally like when hip-hop records are rapped so well by the artist that you can actually see the words that they're saying or get a visual of the story that they're creating. With this record, he's basically just giving some information. Let's just talk about some things that he's went through in his past and how life kind of sucks sometimes. You have to keep going. And the way he flowed and he rapped on that song, I could see a lot of the stuff that he was talking about as far as his struggles and as far as what it's like to be in E-40's shoes. And I like that a lot. So definitely kudos to him. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out The Gift of Gab, go ahead and add that to your playlist as well. The icon Janet Jackson has been giving a lot of interviews at radio stations lately. She's been promoting her new song Made for Now featuring Daddy Yankee. If you haven't heard the song already, you should take a listen to it. It's a nice song. It's uplifting. It just basically encourages you to live in the moment, make the best of the moments that we have now while you're still working forward to better yourself and live your best life. The song has a mixture of Spanish and island type sound to it. I love the visual of the album. I love seeing so many dark-skinned people in the video, and just people of so many different ethnicities. They all seem as if they're living in harmony, and I love Janet Jackson put out that type of visual for that album, because that's the state that we're in right now. We need more music like this of us living in harmony as people so we can push ourselves forward. Janet Jackson is so sweet in all of her interviews. You can tell that she's very shy and she hasn't done these interviews in a while, but she's still such a queen. Janet knows she is a legend. And I love the fact that we don't see her out here complaining about other artists or trying to do different things to make sure she gets shine. She already knows it don't matter if you Beyonce, it don't matter if you Rihanna, it don't matter if you Bruno Mars, it don't matter if you're none of our A-list celebrities as of right now. She's still Janet Jackson, and she's still going to be Janet Jackson to the day she dies. So she has no reason to compete with everybody because she's already made that standpoint. And I love that's how she carries herself, not only in her music, but in her presentation and how she comments and talks about the other artists and different things that's going on in music. Last but not least, I wanted to definitely shout out Mr. Joe Budden. He has announced that Remy Ma will be joining his podcast, State of the Culture, and to bring a female perspective to it, and I am definitely here for it and very interested to hear what Remy Ma has to say. Remy is such a real chick, and I love hearing real opinions. She's a character, so she's funny, so I know she's gonna bring some entertainment to it, to the State of the Culture. Joe is already on 10 some of the time, so with Remy being there, either she's gonna match that craziness or she's gonna do a nice little mellow out and, makes everything run a little bit smoother. But either way it goes, I believe it starts on September the 10th and 11th. So please check that out if you get a chance. So I think that's pretty much everything that I had to discuss. If there's any new topics that you would like to see me discuss in my next episode, leave them down in the comment section. If you want to comment on some of the subjects that I brought up, leave it down in the comment section. Anything you want to let me know, leave it down in the comment section. Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for taking time to listen to Tony Approved. And until next time, to all my listeners, God bless.